What are you seeing on film of the young man that you decided to take some time to mentor this offseason, and Kaepernick? He looks like he's regressing, Kurt, to be very honest.
Yeah, I don't know if it, I mean, regressing, I think you have to get to a certain point for us to say regressing. I think, since Colin's got into the league, I think it's been a process for him. I think we saw some great success early in his career because when he came in, he was so dynamic with his feet and being able to make big plays with his feet. And that was kind of the time when that, zone read was huge and quarterbacks were running RG3s and defenses didn't really understand what to do with it. So they dropped an extra guy in the box. They left man-to-man coverage on the outside. And so he got a lot of favorable situations to drop back and just throw it and pick a guy. And when he does that, he can throw it. But I think what's happened with all these guys is teams have caught up and said, well, these teams aren't going to, they're not going to just play man all the time. They're going to sit back and play zone because these guys aren't going to run their quarterbacks as much as they did early. Now we're going to force these guys to read coverages and decipher things and anticipate and make consistent throws from the pocket. And I think you see all those guys struggle because they've never been taught to do that. And I continue to say it. These guys are such great athletes that they get away with it so much longer than other guys used to. Used to it catch up to you in high school or maybe a couple years in college. Now guys are getting all the way to the NFL level strictly because they're great athletes. And now we're asking them at 23, 24 years old, now you have to stop doing that stuff and you have to start playing the position like a normal quarterback plays the position. And you've got to learn it on the job against the best players in the world, the most sophisticated defenses and defensive coordinators. And you got to do it well every time out. And
by the way, with you getting paid, pizzade with a new contract to let this thing sort of marinate even more in a fan base that's getting more and more impatient with every start. And now this is Sunday night football spotlight for him against the Giants this week. Has he reached out to you at any point during this playing season, Kurt?
No, we haven't talked during the season. I know it's never a good situation when you're having some struggles on the field and you're dealing with all that. But no, we haven't talked during the season. And I think you make a good point, Rich, is that we give these quarterbacks these huge contracts now well before they've fully proven that they can be that guy week in and week out. I mean, you can look across the board at the NFL. There's all kinds of guys that are getting these big contracts. And you're right, expectations with a $100 million contract is you need to be Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers, Peyton Manning when you go out there. And these guys are, they haven't proven that they can be that to begin with, but that price tag, forces us to believe they can be. And I think that's the travesty of the whole thing is that these young men are thrown into a situation that they are not prepared to deal with and succeed in. And now we're going to keep beating them up and say whatever we want to say about them, but they're not ready to do that. They've never been coached to do that, and now we're asking them at this level, and during a season when all you're really doing during the week is getting prepared for the next team. You don't have time to work on your craft. That's got to already be set in stone. And so when I worked with Colin, it was trying to make him more comfortable in a throwing position, in the pocket, so we could thrive or succeed better inside the pocket. But it's just hard to learn in a short period of time, and especially with the lack of patience that we have in the NFL.
The Rich Eisen Show, weekdays at noon Eastern on Audience.